welcome back to Sonographers in the Cities. I'm Lynn.
And I'm Giselle.
So please don't mind my heater. It snowed yesterday, so my heater is really cold outside. It's like 14 degrees. So if you're new here, welcome, and thank you for taking your time for tuning in. We hope you'll find our episodes helpful, especially this one. I'm really excited for this one. And whatever platform you're using, please don't forget to set your notifications and rate us if you can. And don't forget to subscribe to Giselle's YouTube channel for more episodes.
Yes, guys, welcome to another episode. We have a fun one today, and we have a special guest. We have Naroopa here. You guys know her as Ultrasound Techniques. So, hello and welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you guys so much for having me. You guys are amazing. You guys are such leaders, and I look up to you guys just as much. You guys are so admirable, and you guys do so much. Things that I didn't even ever would think of doing at your age. So kudos to you guys for being so awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Well, actually, you are someone that we look up to because obviously you've been in the field for a while. You've been also on the Instagram community. I remember when I first found you and it was all about SPI stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, she has so much knowledge. I have no idea about SPI. It just went through my brain and went out. So I appreciate you and what you do for the community. For those of you who are listening and don't know her, her page has a lot of great information. She's got a website, and she recently created some wrist straps for us to help you guys with ergonomics. You guys always talk about ergonomics. You guys ask so many questions. And so she made something for you guys. She also just recently became an author of a book, and I'm so excited to have her on here to talk about that too.
Thank you, Giselle. Yes, it's been a bit of a crazy 6 months. Honestly, it feels like a blur. I feel like the past 6 months sometimes it's been like a year. Like I feel like January alone has been like, it feels like 3 years sometimes. I'm like, it's just been moving so fast. But I'm just so grateful, and it's all honestly because of the support of the community and all the love that you guys just send to my DMs or message me, or just I wake up to the sweetest messages sometimes, and that's just what keeps me going. And I don't plan anything. I don't know what to do until I find the need within you guys, or I find something that is helpful to you all, and then I just go in that direction. And it all just stems from your support, and that's it. And I love to do it. I love to just follow that path and to just be there and just be a part of this awesome community. And it's grown, and you guys have been on here since before me. Like, you guys are the pioneers of this. Like, I just randomly thought one day, like, oh, let me start an Instagram and put some information out there. Let me just, I don't know, there was just such a drive in me to do that. I don't know why. And I started off I started my LLC about 3 years ago, and I started doing gender reveals. And then I started the page, like, okay, I'll go in that direction. And if you see like a few of my first posts, it's just about thyroid, because that's all I knew. Like, that was like the thing I was most into, and gender reveals. And then COVID happened. So I kind of, slowed down with the gender reveals. And then I just kept posting, I said, okay, let me just get creative. I started posting about segments and scan angles and just technical things. And then I started posting things like little slides here and there, and it started kind of picking up, and I saw that it was useful. So I'm like, okay, I'll just keep doing that. And what actually sparked the education aspect in me is because I never thought to teach or anything like that. I actually was invited on a whim to Seton Hall University in New Jersey to teach in their lab, in their ultrasound lab, to just kind of help out. And that kind of really motivated me also. And then I just kept going, and I just, it just grew and just turned out to whatever it turned out. And every opportunity, I'm just blown away, and I'm just grateful for, because I never would have ever imagined some of the opportunities that, have come my way. But I just think that, it took, honestly, sometimes people look at my page and they're like, wow, this is so great. Like, you're so lucky, and you have all these opportunities, and you're doing all these things. And but it's been 14 years. Like I've been an ultrasound tech for 14 years. And I feel like it just came to a point where I was just like, okay, I need to share some of this. And it just took time. Like, and it took those 14 years of planting seeds and just planning and thinking and just, just having certain goals in mind. And then all of a sudden it just, the garden eventually blooms. And that's why I always share with my followers, just keep planting those seeds in every aspect of your life, not just in your career, like in your relationships and your family. And like and planting seeds means just doing little things, connecting, networking, throwing, and in terms of like your career and Instagram and things like that, throwing content out, putting content out on different platforms, connecting with people. And then it might take years, and that's okay. And you nourish these things. And then after time, it's going to bloom, it's going to blossom, and you're going to be able to reap those benefits, and in a very deserving way, because it takes so much time and patience. And it's a road, it's a journey. And I share that too, a part of just going to school for anything in general and figuring out what you want to do. A lot of that comes with a lot of stress. And I try to tell, my followers that some of them, you guys are so young, and it's a journey, and it comes with a lot of emotions, and it comes with a lot of doubt, a lot of worry. It comes with excitement, and you just have to kind of push through each emotion and keep going, honestly. And things will just start falling into place. Things will just start working out and just leading you. So that's why I focused a lot of the workbook on mental health, because it's huge. It's huge. I feel like you can't do anything without being mentally confident and well in general, body, mind, spirit. And when you go to school, it's stressful. It's a stressful schedule. It's a stressful environment sometimes, because it can be overwhelming, because you're learning something new and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself sometimes, a lot of times unnecessary pressure. And nobody ever really asks, like, how are you doing? Teachers are, they try, but they're there to teach, and they're very stressed out sometimes too. And who do you go to? So I felt like incorporating that into a study guide would be so helpful and beneficial. And I just wanted it to feel like, somebody was there with you holding your hand through the process. And I think mental health and mental wellness needs to and should be more addressed in education.
Yeah, Lynn and I, we talk about that all the time, and we're pretty much big advocates for mental health and taking care of yourself and putting yourself first, which is kind of interesting. Since you've been in the field for 14 years, do you feel like there's a whole new shift change into that kind of mental health kind of game? Because for a long time, I feel like, well, obviously social media is kind of brand new, and it's a brand new age, and more people are talking about it. But do you feel like back in the day, was that ever addressed? Because like you said, none of the books I've ever read would talk about mental health. It just is all information overload almost. And when you mentioned that you were going to do that with your workbook, everyone, of course, was just so like excited for it, because it's something to get them to feel like, oh, SPI, like this is going to be hard, but also like it's going to be good to learn, and also take breaks and still be able to learn that at the same time. So do you feel like there's a difference now since you've been in the field for a while?
No, I can tell you personally, when I went to school, and like you said, it was 14 years ago, not much has changed, because compared to my experiences and what I saw around me, and the experience that students share with me based on their feelings, their emotions, and how close they come to sometimes breaking down because they're so overwhelmed. It's so overwhelmed. It's a balancing act of your personal life, your social life, school, and a lot of times you have to take away a lot. You have to sacrifice a lot, and there is no difference, because when I went to school, there were students that were feeling exactly the same way. A lot went on, just based on mental health, and students just feeling so overwhelmed and having no one to really feel like they can go to. So that was a big part of it. Also, I said, oh my gosh, from when I went to school and I saw students breaking down to the point where like, you know, an ambulance had to be called. Like that's mind blowing. Like, and to now students having the same issues. I'm like, something's got to give. And I feel like in general, I don't want to say, you know, everything is about money, but I always say everything is about money, you know, and these big companies, they invest a lot of money into books. They invest a lot of money into paying other people, like certain, like I won't name names, but certain companies that put out SPI books or educational material. They're a whole organization and they have to pay other people. So they have to, you know, now it's a game about money. How much money can they bring in to pay? How much money are they going to? It's a business. And I always say everything is a business. And I wanted to make something that's not a business, that's not based on money and, you know, how much we can make from this. And let's get a team together and, you know, have a huge overhead and worry about making money back. Or I just wanted it to strip all of that, to strip corporate, to strip money, to strip overhead, to strip just everything and just put everything and anything I can into just making something just about the sonographers. And being on here for 3 years, I started, I think, January 3 years ago, 19, that's about 19, 20, yeah, 2019. Just being on here for 3 years, I was able to gauge the need. And that's the need. The need is help me with my SPI, help me to get through this, not just help me take the SPI and pass it, just help me through this process. Help me. And that's just one thing, you know, the RDMS tests are just as hard. So, but, you know, it's just me doing this. So I have to start, you know, from one point and, you know, hopefully I'll grow and make some other ones. But that's the need. Help me through this mentally. Help me figure out how to take care of myself in the interim. Like, what can I do to make the test taking process a little bit easier? So that's why I kind of incorporated those things into the book. Because when you're stressed and overwhelmed, it's hard to even think or realize what you need or why you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed sometimes. So I feel like having something there to visually look at and guide you and tell you like, hey, you know, go do this, because there is an activity in there. I think it really, really, really helps. And it's just meant for the sonographers and that's it. It's not meant for sales or money or anything. It's just, this is what I found that is needed and here you go. So I just really, really hope it does bring exactly what I hope that it brings and everyone enjoys it. And it's like their friend on their SPI journey.
I love that. Yeah, it's really great to know that you did that for us in the community. And I'm sure Lynn can attest to the number of questions she gets. I know you probably get a ton of questions too. I feel like SPI is like the main thing that everyone always asks about, whether it be like, oh, how can I get into a program or what program, la la la. But like at the end of the day, I feel like SPI is such a huge topic. Lynn, would you say the same too?
So passing the SPI is the first step to becoming a sonographer. So despite what specialties, like as a student, we pick, we need to focus on the SPI first. And that's what we all have in common. And I think it's amazing that you have this workbook that's available for all of us, reducing our anxiety, our stress. And I'm so excited to have everyone share about it once they get it.
Thank you. It's exciting and it's nerve-wracking at the same time because, you know, I worked for such a long time on it. It took, even though, I mean, it's not like a huge book like this, it takes time because it's like art. And it's like, when is it done? When is it ever finished? There's always something I'm thinking of, I could have added, or I could have not taken out, but changed, and that's exactly what it is to me. It's my art. It's my work going out. And, you know, it's always a little scary because you think of the criticism and things like that. But I feel very confident about it because it's tailored to your needs. So
yeah, I mean, what better for it to come than a sonographer, like truly, right?
Right. And that too, like what, you know, these books do come from, you know, other sonographers, the books from bigger companies, but it's just so personable to be able to ask me a question. You know, you get the book, you can ask me a question. We're going to go over it together. I have activities planned. to do together with my followers and with you all. And I just feel like that doesn't really exist with
That's
any
so
other
exciting.
book.
Yeah, I
To be
don't
able
think
to
so.
reach out.
No, and we talk about this all the time, how this community is actually really small, like with how big it is, it actually truly is
Right.
very small. And I'm just excited for people to get to know it more, especially this is also for a lot of the incoming. I mean, there's going to be a huge future generation of sonographers that are going to be able to use this. So if there's one thing that you want to share about the book, like, what would you share with them about it?
Just basically that it's a guide to hold your hand through the test taking process from beginning to end. Like it starts with how, why, why it's even beneficial to take the SPI. Because imagine when you're studying and you're stressed, you're like, why am I even doing this? Is this going to be worth it? And it's just all the questions that you have in your head, they're answered and they're there, to calm you and to let you know, like, okay, this is why you're doing this. Of course, because when you're doing anything, you need a why. You need that why to motivate you. So that the book starts out just like that. It gives you the why, and then it gives you advice on how. Like now you know your why. Now you have to start studying, right? So now let's go through the best ways to study. Let's go through the best ways for not just the best ways to study, but the best ways for you to study. So it gives you ways to learn about yourself and what study methods work best for you, what environment works best for you, what times of the day works best for you to study. Things you don't think about, things that I didn't even think about. Like some people study better in the morning and some people study better at night. And most people just fit in studying to their schedule. And they're like, oh, I'm not remembering anything, because you have to tailor it to like when your brain is more active. A lot of things are very also scientific. Everyone is there. Your brain is more active at certain times of the day, scientifically proven. So for certain people, studying at night works better. For certain people, studying sometimes there's a variable of before or after work. After you work a full shift and you're stressed, that's not a good time to study. Even if it fits into your schedule, it's not going to work. So it just kind of guides you, and then it takes you on to practice questions and some other things in there that you'll see. And then it takes you to like preparing for the day of your exam. And then it takes you to, okay, now we're at the day of your exam. These are some tips and things you don't think about. Like I didn't think about parking. A lot of places do have parking, but some places don't. And now you don't want to roll up to the testing center. And now you're like, 5 minutes to get there. You're stuck in anticipated traffic. And now you're looking for quarters for parking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Have quarters in your car. It's like things that you just don't think about. I would have loved to know, because I was in that position once where I went to go take the test in New York, and I didn't think about that. And I'm like struggling finding quarters in my car. And I mean, I know now everything is electronic, but think I took this test 14 years ago. There were still quarter meter guys. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
And there's quarter meters some places too. So yeah, it's a guide and it's just going to take you from beginning to end. And I think that it's great for anyone in the field, anyone starting off, anyone about to take the test or retaking the test, or just want to know about it in general.
Amazing. We're so thankful that you came on to share it, and we're excited for everyone to get a hold of it. I can't wait to hear about it, what everyone thinks about it, because I know you're in the middle of like sending them out and things like that. I know it's a whole process in itself.
Yeah, I think some people are getting them today, so I'm a little anxious. And I also just want to mention one thing, if I may. I just want to use the word supplemental in there, because it's a supplemental workbook. It's not meant to be your main book for studying, because it's not for that. It doesn't have information on there like breaking down formulas and things like that. It does have like a page of formulas in there. I'll share that with you. But it's not meant for your main source of studying. So you're going to use it along with your main source of studying, whatever book that is. If you're studying from a book from a huge company, and you feel like, okay, I need some other guidance or some confidence, or I need to write some things down, it's supplemental in your journey. So it's not a main book. So, and also you can write in it. So it's very personable also. it's your friend.
Yeah. So where can people order it or get the book?
So the book is available on my website, www.ultrasoundtechniques.com. You can shop my shop there. I have my wrist straps available in the book. Also, I have my blog on there, and my blog, honestly, it incorporates questions that I get every day. Like every day I get certain questions and I'm like, I have a blog post about that, and I'll just send out the blog link, and it, people love it, and it works because it answers those questions. And that's how I chose my blog topics, just based on the most frequently kind of questions that I get, and it works. So just, you can check that out on there. And there's also, I have schools listed on there. I got questions a lot about schools. Being that a lot of my followers are from Cali and New Jersey, I started with New Jersey and Cali. So I listed all the schools on there. And, all the information, like how long the course is, their website, how much it costs, and what questions to ask for each school. So you can check that out. And I hope to get more schools on there. But just remember, I do all of this myself, and I don't even know how. So just give me some time.
That's a lot of work. A whole website. That's a lot of research. It's a lot of asking questions. So, you're amazing.
I'm trying.
Oh my god.
A lot of time management.
Mm-hmm. Lynn, did you have any questions for her? Because now that you're on your last year of school, you've got someone here with super experience.
I know. I'm just like in awe listening to her, and I'm speechless. So I'm like, oh, what questions do I ask? Because backtrack to in the beginning when you said earlier, when you start posting your website about techniques, like angles and stuff. That's I remember. That's when I started following you. Before a program, I was like, oh my gosh, she has so much information. And now that I'm able to meet you virtually, I was like,
It's so nice to meet both of you virtually.
I just wanted to ask, why you picked sonography. We're all here because of sonography. So I wanted to hear your whys, and that obviously might be the reason that you want to do this to help future generations like myself.
So I kind of went to sonography school kind of unplanned. I started school as a nursing student, and I was honestly just taking basic, kind of prereq classes. And I always had, I would get anxiety in being in a big classroom setting. That was never for me. Even in high school, I was I had classes that were over 30 people sometimes. And I never sat well with me. So when it was time for me to go to college, that's one of the things that made me really nervous, because those classes are huge sometimes. And they're people of kind of all different ages. And so I'm like, okay, but you have to go to college, right? So I'm like, okay, what do I want to do? And I was like, okay, maybe I'll do nursing. Seems like something I want to do. And, I'm thinking I always wanted a career or a job where, you can get a job. I didn't want to just go for something general. So I started a few classes, and I wasn't really, it wasn't for me, the environment, the setting, I was very uneasy. So I wasn't able to learn. So, and I was paying out of pocket myself for these classes. So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And then at the time I was working in a healthcare facility, and I saw what nurses had to do sometimes and go through. And it's not easy, and it's a great field, but it's not for everyone. And I decided it wasn't for me. So I left school. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do now? So it was quite a journey. And my mom happened to have been driving around, because, moms take things into their own hands. And she's like, I'm going to figure this out for her. So my mom's driving around, and she just saw this ultrasound school that I went to. And she's like, why don't you go check that out? And in the interim, I happened to have a conversation with somebody that was in imaging, that was an x-ray tech. I'm like, oh, I never thought about imaging like that, and my mom actually found an ultrasound school for me, and it's kind of similar like that. And the person really liked his job, and really liked, the fact that you can just, you're with one-on-one with the patient, and then you're on to the next patient. Nursing is you're dealing with family members, you're dealing with, it's very heavy. It's a lot more intense mentally and physically. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to school for that. And I joined and I went to school for that, and it ended up working out. I ended up really liking it. I'm not going to say that I started off as like, oh my God, I love this. This is my passion. I want people to know that it doesn't start like that, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it does not start like that. It's a journey. And I went to school for, and honestly, at that time, they only had technical schools. Like ultrasound was a whole new program. And this is like one of the first schools I even heard of offering the program. And it was 2 years, and it was a certificate program. So that's one of the things that really changed over the years. You know, it's a little bit longer now, and the cost is, my program was $22,000, which is peanuts compared to what people are paying now. It blows my mind. It's criminal to me. So yeah, I started working. My first job was mobile. I'm not gonna say I hated it, but it was really hard, and I cry every day. So, but it made my skin thicker because you know, I was just exposed to so much, and you're exposed to it by yourself. You're just working independently, and you're figuring everything out as you go, because school is not real life. I just want everyone to know that also. You know, a lot of students put so much pressure on themselves in school, and I have a blog post about that also. I feel like ultrasound school isn't preparing me enough. A lot of students feel like, oh my gosh, I'm not learning enough. I'm going to go in the field and I'm not going to know what to do. I don't know how to scan right. I didn't learn enough of this or that. But, you know, I want them to know that you learn this all on the field. Your learning process kind of begins on the field. And I'm sure, like Giselle, you can attest to that. You see things that you never even thought you'd see, and things that you will never see in school. So, you know, school kind of teaches you how, you know, the parts of the bike and, you know, how it works. But when you get out there in the field, that's when you start riding that bike and feeling it out. And now you got to learn how to jump over rocks and curbs and go over mountains with this bike, you know? So that's kind of what it's like. You're riding and you're on your own adventure.
That's a perfect metaphor.
Yeah. And then kind of fast forwarding my life. I didn't work for a little while, and then I became registered. I started working, and then what really sparked me was my grandma passing away. My grandma sacrificed so much. Like, imagine coming to a new country at almost 60 years old with your kids. My grandma had 10 kids, my aunts and uncles, lots of us cousins, as you can imagine. So I'm like, I need to do something to honor my grandma and her sacrifices. So I'm gonna start this business. And then going to Seton Hall and you know, being with those students there, that was such a cool experience. I'm like, I need to share more knowledge. So let me start this page. And then that just kept building and building. It just kind of happens, you know, like you don't plan a lot of things. And I just want to emphasize that also, that a lot of students plan and try to forecast their life. And you cannot. I didn't learn a lot of things until I got to a certain point in life, and I had to learn it. And I feel like in the last 6 months, I've learned more than I've learned in my entire career. You know, putting out a book is a whole process. Like, you have to learn how to copyright something, how to get an ISBN, how to, you know, I built my own website. I learned how to market. I learned how to put my book for sale on my website. I had to learn how to get an EIN number for my business, how to open a business bank account, how to account for all these things. You know, and I have to think about taxes. Like, it's a lot. It's one thing. And then, taxes. You know, the risk. That's just one thing. You know, you have to learn the legalities, and then, you know, with the risk wrap, and you don't think about it. You know, even just sending things out. I haven't had to go to a post office in years. You know, now I have to learn, how do I weigh things? Oh, I got to get a scale. Now what do things cost to send out? What do I have to charge people for shipping? So you learn a lot in the process, and it's okay to just learn it when you get there. You don't have to put so much pressure on yourself to learn and to know everything.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're going through so much. But I'm telling you, you're a great inspiration. You're so motivational. Everything that you've talked about truly has been so amazing. And I know that people who are listening to today's episode are very lucky to be able to get all this advice from you. And we're so happy to have you here, and very thankful for you for all the things you've done in the community. I know it's a lot of stuff, and it's just really cool to see the other side to this field that a lot of people don't know about.
Yeah, and I just want everyone to know that I'm just a tech. I'm just a normal tech, and that you guys could do it too. You can do anything. And it's just the wanting to do it and the figuring out and just executing. It all starts in here. And then from there, you just do it. Just go put out a book, go do it. You can do it too. I would love to share how to do everything that I do, but I just don't have enough hours in the day sometimes. So, but I'm happy for this opportunity. I'm so grateful. You guys can always reach out to me for anything. You can DM me. You have my Instagram. You have my email. And thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you. You're such an inspiration. Like just listening to you, I think you could be a great public speaker.
That is so crazy to hear, because I told you I've always kind of like had a little bit of social anxiety, even with speaking, and I never thought that I'd be even able to speak the way that I do now. It took a lot of time and processes, I guess you can say. But if I can do it, anybody can do it. Trust me.
Yeah, we're so happy and thankful. I literally can't even, sonographers are usually super, I feel like, I don't know if shy is the word, but they're very like to themselves, right? Like sonographers, It's just us, and it's just us and the patient. And we're never like surrounded by a lot of things or a lot of people,
We're reserved.
Right. Like we're always in our heads. We're thinking all the time. We're multitasking. We're thinking what's next, like on our feet. Like it's just an amazing thing, I think, to be a sonographer. And a lot of people don't know what it's like to be one until you're there. Like you said, all the things that it takes for us to get through the journey. But I know for me, and what I can see from you is that it's very much so worth it at the end of the day. And I can't wait for Lynn, because she's on her way too.
I'm almost there. I'm so excited to be one of you guys.
Hey.
All right,
go get some sleep, girl.
Oh, yes, I will.
Superwoman. Happy
I know, I
sleeping. I really appreciate you taking this time, out of your time to just rest. And you've had a long day / night already, technically.
Thank you. No, I mean,
thank you so much.
I love doing this with you guys. Yeah. Lynn and I, we really love doing the podcast. It's a lot of fun. It's just crazy what it's turned into, but we love doing this and we love having you on.
Yes, so thank you so much for taking your busy time to come out here and share with us your wisdom.
Like, me? Well, today I'm not that busy. It's Sunday.
Yes, take a day for yourself. It sounds like you deserve it.
Thanks. You guys too. I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much.
You too.
And keep killing it.
Yes, thank you.
You too. Thank you. All right, so that's it for this episode. Thank you, Naroopa, for sharing her wisdom. And we're so excited for your book. We're so excited to see what else you will contribute to your page, which is ultrasoundtechniques.com. And everyone who's listening, you're welcome to follow Naroopa at Ultrasound Techniques. And she's always there to answer your DMs, any questions you have, as well as Giselle and I. I'm at DMS Diaries. Giselle is at lolgeselle. And we're also available this video will be on YouTube. It will be under Giselle's YouTube channel.
Thank you guys so much for listening. And we hope to get Naroopa on in the future for another episode. So yeah, until next time, you guys don't forget to go over to her page and check it all out. She's got so much for you guys.
So much information.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Bye. It was nice talking to you.
Bye.
It was nice talking to you.